Wait, excuse me, Jeff and David aren't on.
Jeff's on.
I'm calling the meeting to order.
Jeff is on. He's just on mute.
Where's David?
So this is my gavel. This is a special meeting of the Commission on Arts and Humanities. The chairperson of the commission, in accordance with CC Official Code 39205. The purpose of the special meeting is the consideration of committee recommendation for the remainder of available FY20 grant fund. The meeting is held in open session in accordance with open. Notice the meeting was posted on the agency's site and on the Office of the Government's online central meeting calendar. We have any members of the public on today. Welcome. Before we proceed, I'd like to read the land acknowledgement. Before I do that, I want to ask people to mute because I'm hearing a lot of weird ambient noise, like heavy breathing or scraping across the desktop. Please, I mean, I know this is exciting, but please mute. Okay, thank you. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life. And some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. And this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. We stand on the ancestral lands of the CAH and the Piscataway people. We pay respects to their elders past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in covering such truths at any and all public events and to use such truths to guide the legacy of this Arts Commission. Thank you all. And now, before we start the official meeting, we have a surprise. If everyone would now unmute. Cora?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Okay.
Really? Okay, ready. Where's
Gretchen?
David? Where's David? Where's
He's
David?
right. He's up there.
He's right here.
David.
He's here. Let's go. I'll go with you. Ready?
Happy birthday
To
to you. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy
birthday, dear David.
Older.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh my gosh. That was the worst.
Oh my God.
Very much. Thank you for drawing attention to that.
Remember, that is for you to remember.
That's wild.
birthday, David.
The roll.
Well, you excited my dog. He's now decided to join the
It's going to start howling.
Happy birthday, Prince.
Thank you so much. That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Let's see who was doing that damage. Alma, are you there? Yes. Gretchen? Okay, I need everyone to mute again unless you're staying present.
I was playing Stevie Wonder.
What is it, right? We were
It
gonna
just doesn't work, Gretchen, sorry. Gretchen, you're there. Mariah, you're there. Marianne?
yes.
Jose? Derek? I think he's coming late. Rona is there. Cece? Quanice? Stacy? I see you, Stacy. Natalie? Cora there. Kimber? I see you.
I'm here. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm here. So I'll go back to those who didn't answer. Is Jose there? Cece? Natalie? Okay, we do have enough for a quorum, so we can proceed. With that, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Haran to set up some context for the day. Haran?
Oh, thank you, everyone. I think we're on now. It's good to see everyone. Happy Thursday. I was hoping to just provide a little bit of context to the discussion that's going to follow. As you all remember, in April, there was a district-wide presentation by the Office of the Chief Financial Officer, sharing some information on a forecast of anticipated shortfalls and projected revenues, collected or projected revenue collections in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the Office of the Chief Financial Officer at the time had said that in August, it would regroup and revisit some of these projections and do a second assessment in August. We have information from them and from the Office of Revenue Analysis that the August numbers were not modified in any way as anticipated, but instead that they were comfortable moving forward with the forecast provided in April. And by way of just background, our agency budget that was set with this under this April forecast was 29,475,109 as collected from the dedicated taxes fund. We had our own observations of the month-to-month collections that were happening from dedicated taxes. In that category, we had noticed that the revenue collections were on a downward trend in May and June. It had gone down to about 2 million a month. Usually it's about 2.7 million that comes in through revenue collections. And so in other words, we were in a holding pattern until August and until we got this reassessment. Surprisingly, our July collections were slightly higher than the 2 million. We topped out at 3.7 million. And so between, our calculations for end of year and these projection numbers holding steady where they are, we are proposing this discussion to take place around relief and enhancement with the remainder funds for FY20. So I'll stop there. I'm definitely available to answer questions. So is Brian, but I'll let you, Cece, I suppose, take it to the next level.
Hi. Apologies for the delay. It took me a while to sign in. I think in the interest of time, I'd like to just punt the time to Gretchen so she can go through the proposal. I think Haran summed it up quite nicely. If there are any other questions, but basically the Finance Committee met after speaking with Haran and Brian and Kay and David when we found out that this money would be available. Obviously very excited to have extra money to give to the community. So we met, and I know the Grants Committee also met to put this proposal forward so we can vote on it. So as far as the money, we talked about how the money came to be, the restrictions that we might have in terms of getting it out in time. But the rest is just a matter of us voting on how we want to move forward. So I defer the rest of my time to Gretchen. And if anyone else has questions, please feel free to jump in.
Thank you, Cece. Thank you. Gretchen? Well, let me ask first, does anyone have a question for Haran or Cece before you about how we got the money or anything like that? We decide what to do with it. Okay, Gretchen.
Yeah, actually, finance and grants worked very closely together on this, so we're kind of all in sync on this proposal. One of the things that we had to figure out was, wonderful, we have this money, but how do we get it out of the door, and how do we get it into the system and obligated by the end of September? So we had many discussions on that, and excuse me, and we finally came to agreement. One of the things we had to consider was, how do we give this money to individuals? We wanted to finish out the NEA CARES list that we started. And if you look at the first page of the Grants Committee report, it talks about this NEA CARES list. Whoops, what happened? Oh, there we are. Perfect, thank you. Where we agreed to give the individuals $2,500 until we basically couldn't do it anymore. We did that. We had 502 individuals that actually, whoops, go back. 502 individuals that applied for that, and we were able to award 134. We vetted 165. Of 165, 134 were actually completed and were able to get through the vetting process. So we awarded 134. Round two, which just happened in the last month, we had extra dollars, and we had agreed in the full commission meeting that we would do the best we could to give the rest of the individuals on this list some money. But again, it's not NEA money, it's commission money. So the decision was made by the full commission on vote to give additional monies to the balance of that particular list. So in round two, 133 were vetted, and 100 of them received awards. Now we have this new batch of money, which is fabulous. And so, going with the full commission vote from before, we wanted to finish out the individual awards. So in progress, there are 101 to be vetted, plus 101 were vetted, 103 remain to be vetted. That would finish out that entire list of 502 individuals. And so the money would go to these particular individuals. One of the things that we were faced with in the challenge really was, what can we do to get everybody vetted through the system, especially individuals who were not in the system before with existing purchase orders. And that was really a tough thing that the staff had to deal with. But we are all creative here, and we all have a will to do this. So we decided to go forward, and we need your vote on this at the end. Let me finish the explanation. We decided to go forward with taking a risk, which we think is a great risk, to finish funding these individuals. And then with the balance of the money, we would fund organizations. The organizations are already in our system. They have existing purchase orders, so it's not difficult to get them through the system with the additional monies that are left over. The other thing that happened is we've actually gone, Cora actually called the EOM and asked for an exception. We want to ask for an exception so that we have an extra 30 or 45 days to get everything through the system. And that's working its way from the top down. So I really have all the faith in the world that that's going to happen. This will give our staff a lot more time to get everything in the system, and will give the individuals more time to get their clean hands and all other documents into the system to award these individuals the rest of this money that we have to finish out that list of 102 people. After that, we can slide down a little bit. Okay. Right. After the individuals, in terms of the organizations, the additional money would be awarded to GOS, education, and East of the River, and Liftoff. Those are the other programs that we wish to get your approval on in terms of the balance of the funding. Liftoff, GOS, EOR, and education. David, do you want to, David, are you there, honey? David?
I'm here. Sorry, I'm signed on as Jeff, so
Oh,
it's my new identity for my birthday.
sorry. So do you want to expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, just briefly. So if you remember way back in March when we had hoped to push a pretty significant relief package out the door, one of the pieces was this group of 123 organizations that we had called, as Gretchen said, they are all GOS organizations, or the bulk of them are GOS organizations, not including the non or the NACOC group. And then there were also about 23, 24 non-GOS organizations that are arts and humanities organizations that, for whatever reason, were not in the GOS portfolio this year. And we wanted to make sure that there was a net for them. So we did look at this list back in March. And the only change that we've made to it is the percentage of their original award, either their original GOS award or the highest award that they received. So there was an organization that received both GOS and Liftoff, and their Liftoff award was the higher of the two. We're proposing to give them the percentage of the higher award. And so that's why they may appear as Liftoff or East of the River on the spreadsheet.
Anyone have any questions? To summarize very quickly, we want to use the rest. We want to use the money to finish off the rest of the 502 individual list that started with NEA Cares. And after that's taken care of, the balance of the money would go to GLS, EOR, Liftoff, and education. And you can see the list. I don't know if we want to put it on the screen or not. Can you scroll down, Patrick? Yeah, this list that you're seeing now and that you have in your email will be the awards. Because these are the amounts that each of the awardees would get. And you can see the awards in the second column. I'm the awards, not awards, awards. I'm just so happy we have money we can give to people.
I just want to say, Gretchen, that you've been so succinct and clear, as well as David to CC to that there don't seem to be any questions so far. It took at least 3 or 4 hours to boil it down to this succinct presentation. So I appreciate all the back work that went into problem solving and trying to think, what if we do this? What if we do that? So this is a very clear, great proposal. Does anyone have any questions?
People love it when you're giving it.
Gretchen, it looks good, and thank you for the hard work of you and the team. Thank you.
Yep. And CC in the finance committee.
Absolutely. Everyone
All of the team,
really
Brian too.
looked at this from every angle to see what was possible and where the hiccups might be to try to make sure that we could get it done. And as Gretchen did say, well, as everyone has said, the commitment to getting money to individuals was #1 priority, but that was the most difficult thing to get done. And it really was wonderful that the staff said they were 100% committed, because they're going to be doing a lot of the work to make this happen. So with that, someone want to move a vote?
Well, I want to read the resolution and recommendation that unallocated FY20 grants funds be utilized for relief purposes by way of an enhancement of 25% of the original award amount to all FY20 GOS grantees, as well as EOR, AHEP, that's East of the River, education programs, and liftoff grantees that are not included in GOS, for a combined total amount of $1.461917. So this is in addition to the money finishing out the CAH NEA CARES list.
Right. So I heard a second.
Second,
We need a second, but just in case.
second,
Okay, I'm going to call the roll and see how you all vote. Alma? Gretchen?
Yes.
Mariah?
Yes.
Marianne?
oh, come on.
Marianne, you on mute?
Yes. Marianne, you want to unmute or raise your hand up and down?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Jose?
Yes.
Is Derek joined us now? Rona?
Yes,
Cece?
Yes.
Is Quanice on? Stacy?
Yes.
Natalie? Cora? Cora? You
Yes.
want to vote? Okay. Kimber?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That is unanimous. And one of the best, easiest meetings we've ever had because it's pretty easy and it's a lot of fun to find this money and be so generous. Does anyone have any other?
I
Okay.
wanted to say I wasn't on earlier. I wanted to say happy birthday to David.
Okay.
Happy birthday.
You missed a really
Same.
wonderful moment with us all singing.
I know. I was trying to get on and I've had computer issues, but now I'm on. But happy birthday.
Thank you so much. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Well, we'll give you a present by making this meeting short. Thank you. Thank you so much. The meeting is adjourned. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.